Why comfort is more addictive than you think. You keep choosing the easy option, even after promising yourself today would be different. What if the reason you can't break free isn't laziness at all, but something far more powerful wired directly into your brain? In this video, I'll share 6 neuroscience-backed reasons why comfort is genuinely addictive and exactly how to escape its grip starting today. I became obsessed with this question after realizing that every time I tried to build a new habit, the couch always won. Not because I was weak, but because I didn't understand what I was actually up against. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Neuroscience now shows that your brain processes comfort-seeking through the same reward pathways as addictive substances. The pull you feel toward ease isn't a character flaw. The problem is, most people fight comfort with willpower alone, and willpower will lose every single time against a wired biological drive. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to rewire that drive and make discomfort feel like the reward. Let's dive in. Now, here's where it gets genuinely fascinating and slightly alarming. Your brain doesn't just enjoy comfort, it is chemically engineered to chase it on a loop. The dopamine loop is the cycle your brain runs every time you choose an easy, familiar, low-effort activity. Scrolling your phone, lying in bed, 5 more minutes, ordering delivery instead of cooking. Each of these fires a small burst of dopamine, the brain's primary reward chemical, and your brain immediately begins anticipating the next hit. Research from Wolfram Schultz at Cambridge University found that dopamine doesn't just fire when you receive a reward. It fires in anticipation of a familiar reward. This means your brain has already started rewarding you before you even reach for the phone. Think of it like a slot machine that pays out just for walking toward it. The loop becomes self-sustaining, and over time, the brain begins to associate effort and discomfort with threat rather than opportunity. First, name the loop when you notice it. Say out loud, "That's the dopamine loop," not a real need. Naming it activates your prefrontal cortex and creates a pause. Second, insert a 10-second delay before giving in to any comfort impulse. 10 seconds is enough to break the automatic trigger. Third, instead of trying to eliminate the comfortable choice, attach it to a productive one. Watch your favorite show, but only while walking. Check your phone, but only after completing one priority task. You're not fighting the loop, you're redirecting it. For instance, instead of banning social media cold turkey, which never works, set a rule that you earn it. 1 task completed, 1 scroll session allowed. You keep the reward, you change the trigger. Now the dopamine loop is just the surface, because there's a second mechanism happening underneath it that makes comfort even harder to escape. This next one is crucial, because most people don't even realize it's happening until years have passed. Comfort creep is the gradual expansion of what you consider your baseline minimum. Over time, the things that once felt like luxuries begin to feel like necessities, and the standard you hold yourself to quietly drops. Your comfortable zone doesn't stay the same size. It grows, and as it grows, everything outside it feels proportionally more threatening. Psychologist Daniel Kahneman's research on hedonic adaptation shows that humans rapidly normalize new levels of ease and pleasure. What felt like a treat becomes a baseline, and then the new baseline itself needs upgrading. The brain is not satisfied, it recalibrates. So the person who started taking taxis occasionally now can't imagine taking the bus. The person who worked out 3 days a week now struggles to do 1. The standard erodes silently, and you don't notice until the gap between who you are and who you want to be becomes undeniable. First, audit your current baseline. Write down 5 things you used to do consistently that you no longer do. That list is your comfort creep evidence. Second, choose 1 item from that list and reinstate it this week, not because it's urgent, but because contraction is always happening if expansion isn't. Third, build a monthly standard check. Ask yourself once a month, is my floor rising or falling? The goal isn't perfection. The goal is awareness, because awareness interrupts the creep before it compounds. Instead of trying to transform everything at once, just stop 1 current slide, 1 reinstated standard. That's enough to reverse the direction. But wait, there's actually a reason comfort feels so deeply personal, and it goes beyond habit. It goes all the way down to your identity. Most people don't know this, but comfort doesn't just feel good. It feels like you. The identity anchor is the psychological mechanism where your current comfort patterns become fused with your sense of self. When you spent long enough choosing ease, your brain doesn't register discomfort as hard. It registers it as wrong, as foreign, as not me. Choosing difficulty starts to feel like a betrayal of who you are, which is why motivation alone can never break the pattern. You're not just fighting a habit, you're fighting a self-concept. Research in identity-based behavior change by Dr. Wendy Wood at USC found, and that over 40% of daily behaviors are not decisions at all. They're identity expressions. Your brain defaults to what matches your current self-image automatically, without conscious input. So if your current self-image is someone who rests, avoids challenge, or takes the path of least resistance, your behavior will consistently confirm that image without you even choosing it. The comfort isn't a preference. It's a personality at this point. First, identify the identity statement. Comfort is protecting. Finish this sentence. I'm the kind of person who, and notice if what follows describes someone growing or someone coasting. Second, write a competing identity statement. One small, believable step up. I'm the kind of person who does hard things, even when they're uncomfortable. Third, find one daily action that matches the new identity and execute it before any comfortable choice. You don't break the anchor by pulling harder. You break it by building a new one. Instead of asking, why can't I stay motivated? Ask, whose identity am I currently living? The answer will tell you everything. Now, you might be thinking, but I'm not lazy. I'm just waiting for the right moment. And that brings us to the most seductive comfort trap of all. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. And I say that with complete empathy, because this one catches almost everyone. The one. Delusion is the mental story comfort tells you to make itself feel responsible. It sounds like, I'll start when things calm down. I'll push harder once I feel ready. One day, when the timing is right. It's not procrastination. It's comfort disguised as strategy. Your brain has learned that the promise of future action delivers almost as much relief as actual action, without any of the discomfort. So it uses the future as a hiding place. A study from the University of British Columbia found that people consistently overestimate their future motivation and underestimate how similar their future circumstances will be to today. In other words, the version of you that's ready, calm, and motivated. That version is not coming. The you that exists right now is the most prepared version you'll ever have access to. Because future, you will face exactly the same pull toward comfort with exactly the same brain. The one day is a scheduled disappointment. First, when you catch yourself using future language around a goal, translate it into today language. Not I'll start next Monday. What can I do in the next hour? Second, shrink the first step until it becomes impossible to justify delaying. Not start the business. Write one sentence of the business idea. Not get fit. Put on the workout shoes and stand by the door. Third, make the present moment slightly more uncomfortable than the starting action. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Sit with zero entertainment. Let the boredom push you toward the goal, instead of toward comfort. Instead of waiting for perfect conditions, create a tiny condition, 5 minutes of deliberate boredom before every important task. The brain will choose meaningful action over nothing every single time. This brings me to something that took me the longest to understand. Because it's happening silently in your nervous system right now. This is the one most productivity advice completely skips, and it may be the most important one in this entire video. Stress tolerance. Atrophy is the gradual weakening of your capacity to handle discomfort, difficulty, and uncertainty when you consistently avoid them. Just like a muscle you never use, your psychological stress tolerance physically weakens over time. The more you choose comfort when discomfort is available, the lower your actual threshold for difficulty becomes. Things that used to feel manageable start feeling impossible, not because they got harder, but because you got softer. And softer isn't a moral judgment, it's biology. Kelly McGonigal at Stanford on stress inoculation shows that regular voluntary exposure to manageable stress literally builds new neural pathways that make future stressors easier to handle. The brain adapts upward on challenged and downward when protected. Every time you avoid a difficult feeling, your baseline capacity to handle that feeling shrinks slightly. Comfort doesn't just feel safe, it is making you genuinely less capable of handling life. Slowly, invisibly, compounding daily. First, introduce one small daily stress inoculation. Something slightly uncomfortable that has no downside. Cold water at the end of your shower. A 2-minute plank. One honest conversation you've been avoiding. Not to punish yourself, to exercise the tolerance muscle. Second, when something uncomfortable arrives unexpectedly, practice staying with it for 30 extra seconds before reacting or escaping. 30 seconds of deliberate exposure is enough to begin rebuilding the pathway. Third, track not your streaks, but your tolerance. Ask yourself weekly, did I sit with something hard this week that I would have run from 3 months ago? Progress in tolerance is invisible. Tracking makes it real. Instead of measuring growth by what you achieved, measure it by what you endured. Endurance is the muscle comfort has been quietly eating, and it can be rebuilt faster than you think. And this leads us directly to the final point, the one that changes everything else. You've already made it this far, so let me give you the most powerful reframe in this entire video. Voluntary discomfort is the deliberate practice of choosing difficulty, not because you have to, but because you understand that every act of chosen discomfort is a direct vote against comfort addiction. It is the active antidote, not suffering for its own sake, but strategic, purposeful exposure to challenge that retrains your brain's reward system to associate effort with satisfaction rather than threat. When discomfort becomes a choice, it stops being something that happens to you and starts being something you use. Research from the University of British Columbia on eudaimonic versus hedonic well-being found that people who regularly engaged in meaningful, effortful activity, even when it wasn't enjoyable in the moment, reported dramatically higher life satisfaction scores than those who optimized purely for comfort and pleasure. Think of it like this. Comfort is the sugar of experience. It tastes good immediately, but a life built entirely on sugar produces the psychological equivalent of metabolic disease, numbness, low resilience, and an inability to feel genuine reward from anything. Voluntary discomfort is the protein. It doesn't taste as good right now, but it builds something. First, make a weekly discomfort menu. A short list of 3 to 5 things that feel slightly hard but matter to your goals. Hard conversation, skipped scroll session. Early morning, 1 public action. Second, choose 1 item from the menu each day before doing anything comfortable. Not instead of comfort, before it. This preserves the reward of comfort while inserting the training of discomfort first. Third, celebrate the discomfort itself, not just the outcome. Say out loud when you complete something hard, I chose that. 2 words. That phrase begins to rebuild the identity of someone who moves toward difficulty instead of away from it. Instead of trying to eliminate comfort from your life, which isn't possible and isn't the goal. Try this. Make voluntary discomfort the price of admission for every comfort you currently enjoy. You earn the ease. You don't default to it. That shift alone will change the entire architecture of your day. All right, let's quickly review what we covered today. Because together these 6 ideas don't just explain comfort addiction, they dismantle it. Number 1, the dopamine loop. Comfort fires reward signals before you even act on it. Use the 10-second delay and redirect, don't resist. Number 2, comfort creep. Your baseline drops silently. Audit it monthly and reinstate 1 fallen standard at a time. Number 3, the identity anchor. Comfort becomes your self-image. Rewrite the identity statement and act from the new one first. Number 4, the one-day illusion. The future version of you is not coming to save you. Start with the smallest possible action right now. Number 5. Stress tolerance atrophy. Avoidance makes you softer. Daily small doses of voluntary stress rebuild the muscle. Number 6. Voluntary discomfort. Choose difficulty before ease. Say, I chose that, every single time. Remember, you are not fighting laziness. You are reprogramming a biological system. That takes patience, not punishment. You have everything you need to break this cycle, starting with your very next choice. Don't wait until comfort has taken another year from you. Start with just one voluntary discomfort today, before you close this video. I promise you, 60 days from now, you will feel the difference in ways you cannot currently imagine. If this video gave you something real, hit that like button. It helps people who are ready for this change find it. Subscribe for more deep psychology breakdowns on how your mind actually works and how to work with it. Drop a comment right now telling me which of these 6 mechanisms hit closest to home for you. I genuinely read every single one. And if you want to go even deeper on building the kind of identity that makes all of this feel inevitable, the video right here was made exactly for where you are right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.